So,
Hey, so what's going on with the dog?
well, she had to took her in to get her shots and stuff, and she had to get her teeth cleaned, but they had to put her under,
Okay.
and it took forever. She was in there for like 6 hours for her to wake up, but she's still drunk.
Oh, oh,
So I had to
yeah.
carry her fat body down to the basement, and she wouldn't go to bed. It's like she kept, just pacing around and all that, and like, and she won't eat, like she won't drink, like I couldn't get her to lay down. It's like, yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Well, did you get it handled, or you just want to do this tomorrow?
She's in bed now. She's finally got her in bed, but it took like an hour to get her in there.
Okay.
So I had to hurry up and like I had my list, but I had to, hurry up and make some notes. So I'm not like fully like prepared, but I got some shit. Seems like, but I do
Yeah.
know that somebody's been going through and hitting dislike in every one of the videos,
Huh.
and there's like every video has one dislike, so it's probably the same person. I think I might know who it is,
Okay.
but it doesn't matter. It like or dislike it all works the same. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we'll get started. All right.
Yeah.
Today's topic is top five bands with multiple singers. All right, what you got for number five?
For my number five, I'm going to start it off with some local legends for us, being from Columbus, Ohio. The Gods. That original Gods band had Eric Moore, who most people know him
Mm-hmm.
for being with, did a lot of the vocals. The drummer at the time, Glenn Cataline, was the other person that did a lot of the vocals on the
See, I didn't
songs.
know that.
Yeah, and I actually liked his voice the best. And
Really?
Mark Chatfield did vocals on a handful of songs. So most of them were either Eric Moore or the drummer Glenn Cataline at the time, and a handful of them with Chatfield who played guitar. Chatfield, brought that band back to life, and
Yeah.
got some guys doing that. I think that's pretty cool. They always pay some sort of tribute to Eric Moore
Mm-hmm.
during the show. But those first couple Gods albums, man, I love them. The first one, just the Gods that Don Brewer produced, and
Mm-hmm.
then the Nothing Sacred. I love it too. But yeah, all three of those guys, even the other guitar player, there was a song, I think one song that he even did vocals on. Um, so it was basically Eric Moore and Glenn Cataline, who was the drummer then, and Chatfield on a good handful, and that other guitar player on one. So yeah, I wanted to put them at number five.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Did you ever see them?
I saw a couple of variations of like Eric Moore's version,
Uh-huh.
but that was cool. It was fun. But I mean, obviously, I didn't see him, in the 70s, the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
77,
I know that.
80.
Yeah.
That would have been like the era. But there's a news piece. It's on YouTube. It was on the like one of the local news channels from back in like 78, 79 maybe. And it's pretty lengthy. It's like 15 minutes long. Um, so to get an idea of like what that era of the band, what I would call original era of the band, although it wasn't the original, they
Mm-hmm.
actually had two drummers in the beginning that were and I believe a keyboard player that was killed in an accident, like very early on, even before they recorded that first record.
And
Um, but that first record and that second record, Nothing Sacred, is the two records that kind of cemented who they were. It was on Millennium Records, which was an offshoot of Casablanca Records, which is who Kiss was, the label Kiss was working with at the time.
now I saw them. I mean, I've seen them a few times, but I saw one of the versions of them open for Nazareth,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
the
Yeah.
Newport. So tell me that
And
wasn't all.
I think that version, because I know Eric Moore was the mainstay, but
Hmm.
there have been a handful of times where Mark Chatfield had come back in.
Yeah, he was in there. He was in that one.
I was going to say I thought so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, see, I would have really liked to seen Eric Moore and Mark Chatfield together in it. Like I said, the couple times I saw him, which was more like maybe 89, 90, then like 92 or 93, it was just Eric Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. My number five, I'm going with a new wave power pop band. I got the Cars.
Oh, hell yeah.
Rico
Yeah.
Ocasek and Benjamin Orr. Like Rico Ocasek was the main singer, but one of
Mhm.
their biggest hits ever, Drive, was Benjamin
Yeah.
Orr singing for them.
Yep. That's a good pick.
You like the Cars?
I like some of their stuff. I mean, it's the songs I hear on the radio. The hits that they're known for, I like okay. I've never gone really beyond that. But yeah, I
Well,
respect it.
the thing is with them, like they have a lot of hits. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so, but all their hits are good. But yeah, like I never really liked like their deep tracks or anything. But yeah,
Okay.
every one of their hits were super good, super catchy. Like power pop type shit.
Hmm.
But yeah, Cars. That's my number five.
Yeah. It's a good pick, man.
Right. We got for number four.
Number four, I got a band that was became one of the biggest bands in the early 80s. Similar thing in the more pop rock kind of category, if you will. These dudes were all studio musicians that were seeked after, and the fact that they worked together so often as studio musicians, they kind of put this band together, Toto. Um, and that original Toto they had a few of the dudes did different vocals. They had a main lead singer, Bobby Kimball. Um, Steve Lukather, who plays guitar, still plays guitar as a part of it till this day, did vocals on songs. David Page, who was one of the main songwriters, but played piano and keyboards, did vocals on a few songs.
Mm-hmm.
And even one of uh, the Picaro brothers were a part of that band. Steve Picaro, who did a lot of the keyboard stuff, would do vocals on songs also. And his brother, Jeff Picaro, played drums, widely respected studio type drummer. And then after the bass player from those first few albums had left, another Picaro brother came in to play bass. So yeah, those guys just had talent all around with all the Picaro brothers, just vocal wise, writing wise. So yeah, you had three, sometimes four guys in that band doing different vocal stuff.
You see, I didn't know that either. I know them, but like I only knew like the three hits. The rest of the
A
stuff
few
was a
hits.
bit, a little bit too poppy for me. But
And I'm not well, I go a little deeper than the handful of hits, but just a few more songs. Like there's a song called Georgie Porgy that I know, it's like Lukather and David Page doing the vocals on. Um, but then song like the Rosanna song is they're all kind of doing harmonies and different lines out of it.
yeah,
But Bobby Kimball, the guy that was just the vocalist, does most of that. So I thought that was always cool that they kind of mixed it up like that.
wasn't Roseanne about Rosanna Arquette?
Yeah.
I've
And it
always
was
I've always heard that because wasn't one of them dating her or something?
yeah, it was Steve Picaro, the
Yeah.
other keyboard player. So it was sort of this in there's extensive, versions of his story, his explanation. Um, that he was dating her at the time, and it was kind of loosely based around her, just the general sense of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was David Page was like, well, let's just call it Rosanna, like because she was like friends with them in the band too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she was definitely a part of the reason for the song
Yeah.
and the name of it too. But
I
yeah,
always liked
yeah,
that song. Even as a kid, I always
yeah,
liked
me
it.
too.
Like
Yeah.
it's funny because I listened to that album last night. I wasn't too crazy about the record, but I mean, but that song is really good.
hmm Well, I like Hold the Line too, which
But
is
yeah,
another one of the hits.
that's one of the hits, which is a
Yeah.
good one too. And it's funny because
Georgie Porgy.
Africa has gotten like huge now. I mean, even Weezer did a cover of it.
Oh yeah, Ben
You know,
Hughes.
like yeah,
Yeah. And that's once again, that's not my thing, not what I want from Toto.
yeah.
But that it's become a legendary song.
Mm,
Um, but I like the Georgie Porgy song. That's a fun one. Yeah, that's one of the more deeper cuts for
yeah,
them. It was never a hit.
yeah, for sure. Right. My number four is like a progressive hard rock band. Their main lead singer is Doug Pennick. I got
Yeah.
King James, but
hmm
drummer Jerry Gaskell and guitar player Ty Tabor, they all do vocals on different songs.
hmm Yeah. And I'm not much into them, but I had a friend back in the 90s who loved them and liked that about they did different each of them did vocals and a lot of the
Yeah.
harmonies
Mm,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I really like the earlier stuff. I got into them pretty heavy in the beginning. Like it's one of those bands where I kind of quit following after so long. But
Yeah.
but they had a unique sound. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of progressive,
hmm
but like with the different singers and and they all had their own styles too. Like I think as a guitar
Yeah.
player, his stuff is more like melodic, and then Doug's was more more the hard rocking type stuff.
hmm You're right.
All right, what you got for number three?
And my number three, man, is a band I don't think I've really ever talked too much about, who I fucking love, man. And it's taken, I guess, me this long to really kind of, find an opportunity to talk about them. And it's the Doobie Brothers. I
Damn.
love I love a lot of the Doobie Brothers stuff, man. And that band had a lot of notable great singers in that band. Tommy Johnston and Pat Simmons. They were a couple of the founders. They would do a lot of the, vocal stuff. And then when Michael McDonald came into the band, he's
Hmm.
adding a whole nother element, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And obviously the solo stuff.
Mhm.
And there was even a guy I know they did a final tour in like 81 or 82, and there was a guy named Cornelius Bumpus that was in that lineup at the band then who did vocals at least on these live shows I would see for the song a portion of the song Jesus is just all right with me. And the part that he did, man, he was a black dude, one of the most soulful fucking vocals, like this dude, and he played sax and would play piano and organ too. And yeah, man, Cornelius Bumpus had an amazing vocal thing on that part of that song. Um,
You know what's funny about them? A lot of people may not realize how big they were in the 70s.
yes.
They were on an episode of What's Happening. Remember that show?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
It was an episode where they played their school or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
I mean
I
that
didn't know that, but
yeah,
yeah,
like I mean, so that tells
yeah,
you how big they were to be on like a sitcom.
yeah. They were one of the biggest bands out of the 70s.
Yeah.
And like I said, and they were one I got into early on, man, because my dad had an 8 track of their greatest hits, and that was one
Hmm.
of the few 8 tracks that like early 80s. And I'm saying when I say early 80s, man, I'm talking like 80, 81,
Hmm.
82. I'm listening to this, Best of Doobie Brothers. He had a Queen 8 track. It was like there was the first Kiss record on 8 track. So there was a couple 8 tracks that, caught me early on too. That once again, we always talk about these different albums and bands and et cetera and time frames for us.
Hmm.
that put us on this road. And that Doobie Brothers Best of 8-track was one of the things that got me on this road. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, I was never really into them. I mean, like it's another band I like their hits, but it's
Yeah.
like this 70s rock. I was other than like Cheap Trick and Ramones.
Hmm.
Like I mean, even like stuff like Scorpions. Like I like their 80s stuff better. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
but
Yeah.
I mean, I totally respect the Doobie Brothers. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. A lot of great musicians that had come through that band, but a handful of the dudes were mainstays. Pat Simmons was one. Tommy Johnson came through a couple times. McDonald came in a little bit later in the 70s, but was in like when they were more mainstream, I guess.
Hmm.
He was a part of it.
Yeah.
He's come back with him. I mean, fuck, they broke up in like 81, 82, then came back in like 90 and have been at it since 90 again. But we're
Yeah.
a band in like 68, 69 to like 81 or 82.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're one of these bands that have this longevity and fly under the radar a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those bands where you'll recognize the songs,
Yeah. And you may
but
not know who the
yeah,
band
you
is.
won't know who it is.
Similar to CCR, we've talked about that,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
that, yeah, people know the songs, but they just don't know who the hell it is singing it.
All right. My number three, I have Fishbone. Angelo Moore is usually associated with doing the main vocals, but man, they rotate like their guitar player, like their because they have a lot of brass players, like more like the
Mhm.
saxophone player, trombone player, whatever. He'll do a lot of the vocals.
So I didn't know that with that band.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
and they all write different songs. So I think it's probably the songs they write are the ones they sing. But like
Yeah.
the song "Servitude."
Not I if I heard it maybe.
So I think because they had a video for, but I think the guitar player sang on that one.
Okay.
But yeah, like Angelo he's like the face of Fishbone,
You're
you
right,
know.
right.
But
Yep.
yeah, and I like all the different styles too, and you can tell, but because a lot of bands you can't really tell the different vocals, but them you can
Hmm.
tell, and they're all really good. Rocky George played for them for a short minute.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah. I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
didn't mean to cut you off. What did you say?
Well, I was gonna say I never really got into them, and for no particular reason, really. Um, the few things I had heard, I liked for what they did, but not enough for really me to go kind of gravitate towards it. And
Yeah.
um, but when I would hear it, I never disliked it though.
Well, the thing is with them that you
Oh,
can't
I
go
actually think
by.
I've seen them once.
Yeah, with Biohazard. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
with Biohazard. Yeah.
yeah. Thing is with them, you can't judge them by like on one song because they'll have like a
True.
real ska sounding song, then they'll have like a punk song, but they even have some like metal stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're one of those bands where it's like one song to the next is like it's so out there.
Hmm. And that's what's unique and cool about them. And I
Yeah,
even understand why people would be into them.
it's like
Yeah, I get
the
it.
yeah the first stuff I heard, they started playing on Headbangers Ball, which was a song called "Sunless Saturday," and it was
Yeah.
kind of a metal song. And then I really got into it. Then when I bought the CD, I'm like, man, this is like so different. It kind of caught me off guard. Like, I like it, but it's like at the time I wasn't expecting that. I was like, first I was like, man, these black dudes playing metal, that's awesome. But
Yeah.
now I like all their ska shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm a big Fishbone fan.
Hell yeah.
Right on.
Like I said, I didn't know that they had different dudes doing different vocals. That is cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
All right, what you've got for number two?
My number two, man, you're gonna be hearing me that I've talked about this band quite a bit here recently, man. The Georgia Satellites again
Oh
falling
yeah.
falling
Yeah.
on another list for me, man. Dan Baird was the more notable person from that band, but the other guitar player, Rick Richards, did vocals on a lot of
Isn't he the one
songs.
that did Battleship Chains?
Yes,
That's
yes.
my
And
jam.
that's one of my favorite Georgia Satellite songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rick Richards did vocals on that. And even the bass player, Rick Price, did vocals on a bunch of songs. It seems what they would do live is they would all do a song, vocals, and then kind of rotate it back. Like Rick Richards would do one, Dan Baird would do one, Rick
That's
Price would do
cool.
one, then back to Rick Richards, and yeah.
They do a
But
lot
yeah,
of
Battleship Chains is my jam too,
yeah,
man.
that
Yeah,
is the shit. Yeah.
yeah.
Like I knew they do a lot of harmonizing too,
A lot
which
of
is good.
harmonies also. Yep, yep, absolutely. A lot of harmonies, and yeah, to throw in there that you got three of them doing vocals on different songs. The one that Rick Price, the bass player, does is the White Lightning, and that one's good too with him doing vocals.
There's a song, I think it's off their second record. I think it's called Another Chance. I
Okay.
think
Yep.
they all three, or at least think at least two of them will
Switching
like
off.
switch verses, and then
Yeah.
in the chorus, then they all harmonize on it. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah. Another song they do a lot of good harmonies on is "Can't Stand the Pain." That's one they do some good harmonies, all three of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I know that one.
Yeah. The ones I like, Dan Baird. I mean, everybody knows "Keep Your Hands to Yourself,"
Yeah,
and that's the one Dan Baird. But I like there was a song called Mon Cherie that he did vocals on. It's got a little tongue-in-cheek kind of story to it about a French woman. Um, and another song called Sheila that he did vocals on that I like. Um, yeah, Rick Price with Battleship Chains and White Lightning with well, I may have fucked that up. Rick Richards doing Battleship Chains and Rick Price, the bass player, with White Lightning.
yeah. Like Keep Your Hands to Yourself was good, but that was like so played out during that time, and
It
that was such a
was.
huge song. But
Yeah.
Battleship Chains, man, that song fucking
Yeah.
kicks, man.
Then the Hippie Hippie Shake song
Yeah.
too.
Wasn't that on their second
Rick
record?
Richards does that one. Yeah, yeah, yep. So yeah, I mean, I love the fucking Georgia Side, and I
Yeah.
loved him back then, man.
So that's like I had the greatest hits. That's a band I should go back and re-listen to because like I have the greatest hits and had some good stuff on it.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Well, see, there's a about a year ago, a live album came out. Okay, that they all had finally like gave the thumbs up to release, but it was from the old bodies from 1989. So check that out. That live it's called Lightning in a Bottle. Um, yeah, because they play all the good songs on that. Sound good live. The recording itself is good. You get a sense of the energy. Um, and it was
It's
the
funny.
original Peabody's.
So I remember when they really hit big. I remember they played the Newport and it sold
Mm-hmm.
out like super quick. But
Yeah,
they would play here like every year. But then like
yeah,
every year the crowd just kept getting smaller and smaller. It's
yeah,
like 'cause they had that
yeah,
one big hit and
yeah,
then how people are, they
yeah.
stop
Well,
following shit.
even one of the stories I heard Dan Baird tell that so that second album, they did a headlining tour and it wasn't doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
And he said one night that him and the guy that was their bus driver for that tour, just him, middle of the night, they're driving, him and the bus driver, and the bus driver, told him, so he's like, Dan Baird was kind of like, man, this is kind of discouraging that, like we're doing this headline stuff and we were hot a year ago and now it seems like in the debate, the bus driver said, man, he's like, I love you guys, but he was like, who in the fuck do you guys think you are? He was like, this is your second album.
Yeah.
You're not ready to be a headline band.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan Baird was like, and he's like, that motherfucker was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember he put out a solo record in the early 90s, I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan Baird, Homemade Sin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it after that third Georgia Satellites record, and the drummer from the Mauro Magellan played on a lot of the Dan Baird stuff too. He
Right.
stuck with him.
I my number two. A lot of the casual fans don't know this about the Use Your Illusion records, but Izzy and Duff did some lead vocals.
Mm-hmm. I believe Dizzy Reed did too, didn't he?
I know he did some background vocals. I don't know if he did some lead vocals.
Okay.
I know like Duff did like two or three. He did like So Fine. What else did he do? I know Izzy did a couple.
Yeah.
But like those none of those songs ever like were like really hits.
Yep.
But like So Fine is fucking awesome. And but then Izzy ended up going solo, and so he did a lot of singing. And Duff is done solo and with lead vocals and stuff.
And even that, just to real quick, when Izzy went solo, did the Juju Hounds band,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Satellites had broke up at that time. Rick Richards played in that Juju's band with Izzy Stradlin.
Oh damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's a quick little
Oh
side
yeah,
note, kind of bridge the two bands there.
right on. But yeah, like and most people when they think of Guns N' Roses, Axl, but
Yeah.
if you got to remember, like it said like Izzy went solo, but Duff was playing and singing in punk bands before he even joined Guns N' Roses.
Mm-hmm. And Duff always did. I don't think he did it on the record, but he was also doing the backups with Axl to "It's So Easy." That was
Mm-hmm.
always Duff doing that, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, like Duff has a unique voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when he's singing.
Yeah.
All right, so what'd you have for number one?
But my number one, man, I went with this band because all of them did vocals. Um, our mutual friend Rosie will appreciate me bringing up this band, and it's Kiss. That original band makeup, the original four,
Mm-hmm.
all four of them did vocals, man.
Yeah.
And all four of them were different vocal wise. Like it kind of said, some of your picks, like you knew Paul Stanley was Paul Stanley. You knew
Mm-hmm.
Gene Simmons was Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
You knew Peter Criss was Peter Criss. And you knew Ace was Ace.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, man. And they were another one that on a lot of their songs would do a lot of harmonies too, which I liked. And I think I remember once a kid that I was friends with, in Tennessee, who kind of was like, "Man, Kiss, what is it with Kiss?" And I was like, "Man, if you listen to that original Kiss band, a lot of those songs, man, had different flavors to it. And the song "Nothing to Lose," man, that's just total 50s American rock and roll. Got piano, nothing like what everybody else thinks about of Kiss on the surface.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's, the makeup, spitting blood, breathing fire, talking about women. I mean, Paul Stanley with his, hitting his high notes and shit. But I think there's a lot more to Kiss than what people, like I say, specifically with that original four, those albums from the 70s, you'll find some songs on there that you'd be like, this is Kiss? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah, they weren't afraid to like try something different, that's for sure.
fuck yeah. Yeah. But they made my number one because, like I said, all of them did vocals.
Yeah. Yeah, I had them for honorable mention. I mean, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's funny because you know who I think I mentioned this on the Kiss episode, but you know who my favorite singer, like vocal wise, is? Peter Criss.
Peter Criss, yeah. No, he had a great voice.
I love it. I love that gravelly style of voice, though. Man.
Yeah. Well, do you know the song I'm talking about? "Nothing to Lose."
I'm sure I do.
Yeah, his vocal on that's perfect, man. It's rock and it's just an American rock and roll song, man. Not like their other shit that they're known for. It's not Strutter. It's It's not Deuce. It's not Calling Dr. Love. It's not Detroit Rock City. It sounds nothing like any of those songs. Check it out when we're done with this, man, or I'll send you a link or whatever.
I'll check it out.
Since you
Right.
like, because he does, they do a lot of vocal harmony on it, but he does Peter Criss, the main vocal parts of it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Kiss songs.
Right on. All right. My number one, this isn't my favorite band, but I think this might be the band that kind of started the whole thing. The Beatles.
Honorable mention. And
Yeah,
same
I mean,
thing,
it's
they're not, I totally get the mark they made on music,
yeah,
but yeah, man, with the harmonies, with each of them doing, you're right. Yeah, you're
yeah. So,
absolutely, I agree.
yeah, like I said, they're. I mean, I like them, but I
I
think
don't hate them.
yeah, I think they're kind of overrated. But I also
So do I.
know, but they do deserve to be number one. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's why I put them in as honorable mention because they deserve it. I do agree from overrated, but I get it. The mark they made, like we even just said, they were one of the first ones to really, at the
yeah,
very least, popularize the harmony vocals and different, different guys doing vocals at different times.
and also with them, it's like if you listen to earlier stuff, all it was like cover stuff. So I mean, it took them a few years to get it down. Then once they got it down, then it was like
Yeah.
it's like they were doing like Supreme songs or whatever. You know what I mean? They
Mhm.
were like earlier stuff.
Well, that was what it was. All these British bands had the love for the American rock and roll.
Yeah,
You
it's like,
know,
but once they found their groove, man, and then that's another band. They all went solo and and did
Yep.
their own solo stuff.
Yep. So yeah, I had them as honorable mention. They definitely deserve to be for this topic for sure, for sure. Yep.
Hey, well, what do you got for some honorable mentions?
Well, we both admit the reason that what sparked this topic anyway was Eagles.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, so we'll just get that out right there. I mean, all of them did fucking vocals.
see, I would have had them, but I thought you had them on yours.
Well, I knew we were going to discuss them, but
Yeah,
I mean, they said that Don Henley had the golden voice. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I think they all had amazing vocal styles, man.
yeah.
Glenn Fry, all of them, even when Walsh and
Hmm.
Don Felder came into the band, you know?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
great harmonies. You talked about in the one episode the harmony thing that you were enamored with, which I get it. Um, the bands that can do that, great harmonies, or have different people in the bands that do vocals at different times. That's awesome, man. So yeah, Eagles. Um, the Mark III version, I've talked about this. The Mark III version of Deep Purple with David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes
yep.
switching vocals a lot of the time. And that Burn record is my favorite Deep Purple record.
Hmm.
So yeah, I got to bring that one up. Um, Talked about this one before. Ted Nugent. A lot of people don't realize that Derek St. Holmes is the person that's doing vocals on a
Hmm.
lot of the Ted Nugent hits. Now, Uncle Ted does do vocals on a lot of those songs also, but a
Yeah,
lot of them are Derek St. Holmes, and even I got told you that one record Meatloaf did vocals on 6 songs on an album.
yeah. They even had Brian Howe sing on some stuff.
Brian Howell,
Yeah,
Charlie Hoon in the late 70s. So yeah, Uncle Ted's always had some different good vocals in there too. And quite honestly, I'll just say it for the record. I think Derek St. Holmes has one of the best rock and roll vocal styles and most underrated rock and roll vocal styles because people don't fucking know it's him.
yeah,
They think it's just Uncle Ted.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I also got here's one, man. Bachman Turner Overdrive. Randy Bachman and Fred Turner both did vocals on those songs, man.
Mhm.
So here's another one I brought up last time on the guitar team, ZZ Top.
Yep.
Dusty Hill and Billy Gibbons both, man, were doing vocals on different songs.
Hmm.
Um, you ready for this one, man? Spinal Tap. They all did vocals. They,
Wow, that's funny.
they it's yeah, and it's meant to be funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nigel did vocals, David did vocals, Derek did vocal. They all did vocals, man. And they all really, and the thing about it, those dudes, those three dudes specifically, those characters really played guitar and
Yeah.
bass and did vocals.
It's just funny 'cause I
Yeah,
just always think of him as Lenny and Squiggy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too. Me too. But yeah, Spinal Tap, man. Uh, I got the Runaways, Joan Jett, Cherie Curry. Um, and I want to say I could be wrong about this. I think maybe one of the bass players had done vocals on some of the songs too. But another thing, a lot of harmonies too that Lita and the bass players would be in. I think even the drummer did a lot of the. She may have even done vocals, Sandy West, on some of the songs. But a lot of good vocal harmonies. But it was either Cherie or Joan Jett. Um, the Beatles we just talked about. Cream.
Yep.
Jack Bruce and Eric Clapton,
Hmm.
both doing vocals on some different stuff. I heard a Cream song on one of the classic things I listened to on XM. I don't remember the name of the song, man, and I've slept on Cream, man. I need to go down that rabbit hole
Yeah, it's good
because I
shit.
like this song that I heard. I'd never heard it. It wasn't one of the hits,
Hmm.
so I need to go back on some Cream, man. Uh, Pink Floyd.
I had them honorable mention. Yep.
Yep. Gilmore and Waters both, and then when Sid
Yep.
Barrett was a part of it.
Hmm.
Um, and the last one I have, Fleetwood Mac.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Fleetwood, different versions of Fleetwood Mac would have different vocals, early on with Peter Green. Um, and then obviously with Lindsey Buckingham coming in, Stevie Nicks coming in. The McVeighs would do vocal. Yeah, there was always different female and male, different vocal stuff throughout that band's history.
Yeah. I was looking something up. Is that all you had?
Yeah, that's all I had.
Okay. Like I have a couple I talk about a lot. I didn't want to put them on a list because I'll talk about them too much, but I still deserve honorable mention. Biohazard,
Yep.
Billy and Evan, Hazen Street, Freddie and
Oh,
Toad, Rancid, Tim and Lars.
yep. Damn. Yep. I wish I had. Yeah.
That was almost my number one. Then I had Ice Pick,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dickie and Isaac,
Yep.
Queen,
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
Freddie Mercury, Brian May, and was it
Roger Taylor.
Roger Taylor? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Styx.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's one I
Yep.
figured you would have said.
Yeah. Dennis DeYoung and Tommy Shaw both. And
And
even Jim J did vocals too.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, didn't Boston have a couple different singers?
I think a couple different dudes would do similar thing,
Yeah,
vocals on a song here and there. Yeah,
yeah. 'Cause I
I
think
think
like the drummer would sing, and then like the guitar player or something. I
could
just
have been. Yeah,
yeah, I'm not the
I'm not
biggest.
100%, but I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Boston fan, but yeah, I think so. And here's one a lot of people don't realize either. Alice in Chains.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
everybody knows it's Lane Staley as being the singer, but it's actually, once again, the harmonies between him and Jerry Cantrell is what made Alice in Chains.
I agree with that 100%. Yes. That's what I think made that band is
Yeah,
that harmony thing between
yeah.
the two of them.
Because
Yeah.
from what I think I remember hearing was Lane wasn't that great of a singer. So then, so Jerry, when they'd harmonized together, it was beautiful, man. You know what I mean? It was so
Perfect.
good.
Yeah.
Like, and now they
It,
got,
it, it,
can't remember the guy's name now singing for him, but same thing.
yeah. Yep. Jerry Cantrell's a good vocalist too, man. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Those were some good honorable mentions also. The Rancid one, I wish that had hit for me. A good pick on that. And like you said, Lane and Jerry Cantrell, man. I'm glad you brought that up, man.
Right on. All right. Anything else?
No, that's all I got this time.
All right. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. 5 and
Five
out.
and out.